to the Piqua City Commission regular meeting Tuesday, September 2nd. Let's begin by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk call the roll?
Commissioner Vetter?
Here.
Commissioner Simmons?
Here.
Mayor Lee?
Here.
Commissioner Homan?
Present.
Commissioner DeBras?
Here. First on our agenda is a motion to approve the business agenda.
Mayor, I would move that we approve the business agenda.
Second. Moved and seconded. This includes all the rules and procedures for the conduct for the commission meetings as well. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Approval of minutes from the August 19, 2025 regular city commission meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I would approve the approval of the minutes for the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Next on the agenda is old business, ordinance number O-9-25, the second reading.
An emergency ordinance enacting and adopting a supplement to the Code of Ordinances for the city of Piqua.
I believe last meeting it was decided this wasn't going to be an emergency anymore, but the language remained.
Okay.
Every year, American Legal Publishing drafts, stores, and edits city ordinances. This is just bringing this up to date. This covers years from 2022 to 2025. There's no changes from the last time that this was read.
Any questions from commissioners?
I'll just again thank you for getting this up to date. I had inquired about this last year to our last council. It apparently did not happen. Thank you for getting this done.
No problem.
Mayor, do we need to amend this to remove the emergency?
Yeah, we need to amend it, but let's have public comment and then we'll amend it.
Yes, sir.
Kim Eisler.
Hello, I know Jessica had mentioned that you were going to remove it, and hopefully you will take that emergency out of it, because as with everything going forward, just because it's an emergency on our part doesn't necessarily mean whatever that phrase is. Lack of foresight on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on ours, so I appreciate that for taking that out. Another thing too, last time it was mentioned by the other gentleman that I know it's been since I think 2022 since it was actually updated, but prior to that it was done like twice a year. So I would strongly have you guys consider, instead of doing it yearly, to do it twice a year, because even with this passing, the freshest, the newest information that's out there is still really old, and I think it's March is at the latest at the local level, and it's even a year old at the state level. So I don't know how you guys need to work that in there, but doing it every 6 months is going to help everybody out. So that's what comes next.
Thank you. Who wants to do the motion to amend it?
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we strike the word emergency from the title of ordinance O-9-25.
Second. Moved and seconded to strike the emergency clause out of the ordinance. All those, I need a roll call.
Commissioner Vetter?
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
Mayor Lee?
Aye.
Commissioner Homan?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBras?
Aye.
All right. And that will serve as a second reading. No need for a motion at this time. Next on the agenda is ordinance number O-11-25, a second reading.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 32, Boards and Commissions.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is the second reading of this ordinance, which will modify our ordinance, Chapter 32. If you'll recall, we're talking about just doing some language updates to make all the boards and commission language similar for organizational structure, removing some outdated language, including the section regarding the health board, which is no longer needed, and combining the energy and utility boards to create one board that oversees all utilities in the city.
Any questions from commissioners? I'll ask, do the boards as they are have minutes to their meetings? And will they be uniform under this, how they report minutes to their meetings?
This ordinance, I don't believe specifically speaks to minutes, but it is, all boards and committees have agendas and minutes to them. It may speak to that. But all of them are required to keep minutes of their public meetings.
Might be outside the bounds of wrapping an ordinance around this request, but I think as we continue to update the website and our record keeping, making sure that those are held on the website and available the same way the commission meetings are, which I believe some of the boards are. I'm not sure that all of them are.
Yeah, I think most of the boards now are using the civic clerk module, and so they should be posted as the clerk is able to get them approved, and the agendas are posted as well.
Thank you.
Kim Heisler?
Okay, my question is, I took a look at the boards and commissions and stuff, understanding how you're gonna move stuff together, but I'm actually trying to find like a flow chart, since things are dynamically changing. The one that's posted on the website is from 2022. The CAFA report from 2023 is still old because it still has groups in there that's outsourced. So, can you guys tell me where I can find a new flow chart?
We'll ask.
And when you ask and you find out, can you have that posted in the next agenda packet, please? So everybody can see where we stand on that. I'll take that as a yes. Okay.
Do you know what the most current flow chart is?
I don't know what flow chart she's referring to. I don't know what she's talking about.
For boards and commissions?
I believe that there was an org chart at one point that had,
Can I clarify? It's the city organization chart, what has these guys.
Organization. Okay.
I don't know how many different org charts you have, but that's the only one that seems to be out there.
Okay.
And to say that you don't know is a little bit.
She didn't know what you were talking
Oh.
about, is what she said. So you can have a seat, please. Thank you. I thought you were
Yeah, I'm sorry,
talking about.
the organizational chart is not part of this ordinance, so
Okay.
I didn't know what she was referring
I
to.
understand what you're saying. I thought she was talking about boards and commissions, I'm sorry.
Can you still ask the question?
I did ask the question. It doesn't pertain to this ordinance, okay?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
This will, however, update that. When this passes, it will update that organizational chart as far as the committees go, right?
yeah, what we're talking about is administrative record keeping. It's not in the scope of the
Right.
ordinance. I agree, though, after the ordinance has gone through, that we should update our current organizational.
So we can talk about it, yeah. It should be updated as well.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Welker, at the last meeting,
It was brought up that in the new language, apparently the requirement for the energy/utility board to produce a report was taken out. And that seemed to be a bit of a question as far as, was it in there before? Is it still in there? What is the status on that?
Yes, that language was in the ordinance. It has been removed. It's my understanding that no report has ever been produced, so we were just bringing it in line with current practice.
I would put forth that once an ordinance has been seen for first reading, any amendments have to go through the commission.
The removal was part of the first reading.
Okay. Did we amend it?
No, this ordinance is presenting new chapter 32 language, which there are items that were removed, there's new items,
Maybe I misunderstood.
Yeah, so
Commissioner
in the old or the current language of the Energy Board, there is language there that essentially either required or recommended that they produce a report. In this ordinance, that language is gone, and we're also combining the Energy and the Utility Board. So nothing was taken out of the ordinance itself. It's just that provision didn't make it over into the.
So do you want them to produce a report?
I mean, I wish someone was here from the Energy/Utility Board to ask that question. I mean, I think it would, but I don't know, and maybe you do, does Power produce their own annual report? Does the utility office produce their own annual report? Are we duplicating efforts if we have the board produce one?
If the commission desires for them
That's
to,
not,
yeah.
that's not the question. The
Okay.
question is, does the utility department or the power department themselves, i.e. RJ or whomever is running the utility department now, do they produce an annual report, the department themselves?
The departments submit items to the city manager's office for an annual report, and the city manager's office produces an annual report. Typically, when the city manager does a 2-year update, so it's not
That's
always
where that information
annually.
comes from. Okay. I mean, I think it would be more appropriate for the actual department heads to do it than an advisory board. But that's just my 2 cents.
Commissioner, if I might add, so the power system director, when they have their board meetings, they have a work plan for that year, a budget, and so at each of those meetings, they discuss the status of that. And so it's an ongoing, a rolling update, if you will, of what's been done for the year, where they are budgetarily as well as operationally.
Got it.
And I would assume we'll have similar for water and sewer as well, once they're all combined and doing the same thing.
Okay.
Jonathan, is that for this one?
Yeah.
I'm waiting. Come on up. Jonathan Russell.
Just a quick question. I appreciate the dialogue. The requirement for the park board to produce an annual report, that language did stay in this ordinance. So I'm just curious, as the park board did that report, should we also remove that if that's basically not a thing? That's all. Thank you.
I have a question. Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead.
I personally believe that it is very important to have the report for the park board requirement kept in. And the reason why I believe that is it gives us another opportunity for citizen participation as far as what they would like their parks to look like, to have amenities, those types of things. When we start getting into public utilities, i.e. power, water, sewer, I'm certainly no expert on those things, but I can tell you what I want in my parks. So to have a group of citizens who are appointed to this board to then make recommendations or produce a report on a public utility. We have some really, really qualified people who live in this city. If they all would love to be on that and do that, great, but I'm more scoping wise here. The park one to me is important, where we get valuable feedback from I think folks who are actually using them, where they can have a huge impact on where we should go. Again, that's just my 2 cents.
We can amend it if you'd like.
I'm good.
Any other questions or comments from commission? We'll leave this as a second reading then. Move on to the next ordinance, ordinance number O-12-25. Second reading.
An amended ordinance to make appropriations for the city of Piqua, Ohio for the year 2025.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. This is the second reading on this ordinance to amend our appropriation ordinance for the year. There were some changes from the first reading. I've highlighted those. If you have a colored version, I hope so, the printout, those were highlighted in orange in the actual ordinance document. I also notated those in the staff report. It looks like I did miss section 6. That also changed, but all the other changes in the staff report were notated that they had changed from the first reading. If you have any questions, I'll take those.
Why are there changes?
So different projects or
Leading.
issues came to light, and department said, can you get these in the appropriation ordinance where we need these for there were different reasons, and if you'd want to go over any of those in particular, we could certainly do that.
Commissioners?
How would you describe a recurring line item, which is non-government transfers and refunds?
That is talking about transfers and debt service payments. And that's the way it's been described in the past in this document. So was there one that you were looking at there?
No, I just saw it happen. It's a line item that's under a lot of different sections, so just thought it'd be interesting to ask.
Any other questions from commissioners? Kim Eisler?
We do have multiple questions, so.
I'll write them down.
Write them down, okay. So, and some of this may or may not have to do with the things that was changed between the first version and the second version, but I didn't ask the first time, so I'm asking now. Under section 1, changed, it says changed from the first meeting, but at the end of that paragraph, it says capital budget is being moved from planning to zoning to city building for improvements to the commission chamber and to operations and maintenance for a planning project for future improvements. My question is, what is that planning project for future improvements? And then 2 paragraphs down from that, it says the increase in the general government operations and maintenance is to pay property taxes for Spring Creek and Washington Townships according to the agreements with those entities. The increase in capital outlay is to fund the Piqua Battery Property Project and the property acquisition at 123 West Water. So the Piqua Battery Property Project, I'd like to find out what that is also. And the property acquisition at 123 West Water, is that the, like the green room at Lock 9 or something different?
Which one was that?
That's still on section 1,
Okay.
123 West Water. So I guess my question was, I know something came through that we were authorizing $30,000 for the green room. Is that what this is? But then, In section 4, it says the increase in the park fund is to fund the activity for the loft rentals, which also shows 30,000. So I didn't look at the number at the one I just mentioned, but this one does say 30,000. And my question is that for the leasing of it? Or is that for 30,000 for something other like overtime for traffic that wasn't like planned on, maybe for Lock 9 events or something different? Jerry, I know you mentioned section 6 was added, and I just wanted to verify that that was just exchanging funds from one department to another department. Section 11, the staff determined the need for more meters sooner than expected. And this was for the water fund and also the wastewater fund. And what determined why we needed it earlier? And why do we need more meters? Because from my understanding, and this might be for business only, but like the water fund, I don't even think our meters can give us information for every 15 minutes or hour. It's just like a lump sum.
I think there's a longevity on those meters. Go ahead.
Well, there might be a longevity, but I mean, they can't tell you how many gallons. I mean, there's a minimum of 1,000 gallons. It seems kind of crazy to me to have an electric meter and 1,000 gallon being the minimum. Section 14, the increase in the stormwater fund is for equipment repair and replacement and project design work. What is that project design work? And how does that differ from wastewater? And on all these different funds, is that just as it stands right now? Or because all these funds and electric, water, wastewater, stormwater, those are gonna change significantly with the infrastructure for like all the new businesses and actually all the new housing developments. So how, I guess, is that already tied into it? Are we planning for that in this, or is that just as it is now? Hope you got all those questions. I think that's all I got. Yep. Do you have any questions on my questions to ask?
Nope.
Okay, thanks.
So Jerry, under section 1, planning project for future improvement.
I can take that one, Mayor. So that just speaks to some of the maintenance activities we have going on in the chambers here that were not accounted for at the beginning of the year. One of them being the strobe behind the flag is the fire alarm is supposed to be visible, so it's going to be moved and relocated amongst some other maintenance items that we have.
And the Piqua battery project, proposed project.
Yeah, so that's economic development project that is in the pipeline right now, and we don't have a development agreement finalized on that, so I don't want to speak too much to that, but it's phase 1 of the revitalization.
Okay. 123 water, is that the green room, $30,000? Is that what she?
It is not, that's a separate project.
That's a different project?
Yes. Correct.
Is that correct, Mr. City Manager? Can you tell us what it is? Yeah.
123 West Water. That's not.
That's not the $30,000 for the green
That's not
room?
green room.
No, that's not.
That is a separate project.
Did you say east? It was west.
West is what it's.
123 West Water.
That's what I thought.
I'll look that up.
Okay, get back with us. In section 4, is the leasing for Lock 9 event or not?
That was for any other expenses related to the loft activity for the rest of the year.
Okay. Go ahead.
Is the loft the green room?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
She did ask that. That was your question. And under section 11, why do we need more meters?
Before I answer that, I'll back up to 6 and just her question the answer to her question was yes, that was just an exchange from one account to the other.
Okay.
Then we can move on to 11. And I'll let Kevin speak to that. He has more details as to why we needed the meters.
Yes, we're 7 to 8 years in on our meters, and we're starting to have failures. We had a bad 2025 where we lose about 200 a month.
So they need replaced.
Yeah, so this is to go out to a third party to install them, and this is to have funds ready to do that by the end of the year, so we do not have to wait till next year's budget cycle.
Are
to
these
replace
dumb
those
meters? Do they just record water level?
No, they record a lot more. I think what Ms. Heisler is referring to is you cannot see the detail like you can on the power usage, but it does record those. It is there behind the scenes, but it is not public facing currently.
Okay. All right. And under section 14, Jerry, the increase in the stormwater fund, Kevin?
Yeah, that one is for a resolution that's coming later, and if in anticipation. But we had money set into the operating budget, and it was deemed that the money for that needed to come out of capital funds. So we were putting $150,000 into capital funds to use the right pot of money, and we will probably not use the money in the operating fund then. It's more of a technicality.
I just want to put forward, Mayor, on the meters and on the stormwater project. I don't remember which setting it was in, but I do seem to remember both of those things being conveyed to me by Kevin at certain points. I don't know if that was when I visited the utility board or during his presentations to this commission, but I believe that information had been brought to us previously.
The last question you had, Ken, had to deal with
123 West Water Street.
I'm asking you.
My question was the difference between the stormwater and the wastewater.
And the wastewater.
Stormwater and wastewater are totally different funds. One is for your sanitary sewer that leaves all facilities, buildings, restaurants, industries, institutions, and stormwater conveys stormwater through the city to larger waterways and gets it out of the city. They are not the same thing.
So the wastewater is.
Wastewater needs to be treated, stormwater does not.
Yes.
And is all this in anticipation of all the infrastructure?
None of these have anything to do with any infrastructure going on anywhere in the city of Piqua.
There we go.
And then the property answer of
The point, the last one about
Yeah, that
123.
123 is acquisition of the garage. It's on the other side of Town and Country. The building that we own now. So that's just part of that transaction.
All right. No other questions, public comment questions. Any other comments from commissioners?
No.
That'll serve as the second reading then. Next on the agenda is ordinance number O-13-25.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $2,830,000 of notes in anticipation of bonds for the purpose of paying the cost of construction, acquisition, and equipping of park improvements, facilities, and accoutrements relating thereto, refunding outstanding notes previously issued in anticipation of such bonds, and paying the related costs of issuance thereof, and declaring an emergency.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is the ordinance that reissues the note for the Lock 9 project and the pay down to the sewer fund for this year.
Any questions from commissioners?
I would just like to echo what Commissioner DeBras had said at the last meeting, that essentially over the course of 13 months of operation, we've paid back half of the amount. And in that time, we've had something like what Country Concert is for Sydney, But instead of a giant bomb in the middle of the city that happens over the course of 3 days, we've been able to spread out that economic activity to be continuous throughout the whole summer. And so this was a very good use of debt and leverage to achieve that end.
And it's getting paid off. Any other comments from Commission? Kim Heiser?
While I understand you guys' sentiments and stuff, and this stuff is getting paid off so quickly, it's still, from a citizen standpoint, it is nice to have a place to go to, but it still kind of leaves a bad taste because we still have the Hands Pavilion, we have parks that still need taken care of and streets that need to get worked on. Yet this rose to the top and that stuff is still not even seemingly coming up on anything to get fixed. So I guess the frustration, while it's great to have it, the frustration is still there. We need work on the other stuff also. Just wanted to make that.
Mayor, I would like to entirely disagree with the idea that the parks require a lot of maintenance. There's several identifiable and enumerable issues that are specific and that have been accounted for and have some sort of plan or discussion around them. But in general, the 16 parks in our portfolio are in tremendous shape. I toured them last summer. They are fantastic. A lot of the pavilions in them are modern. There's kids and people playing and having picnics in them all the time. The park system is one of the reasons why I moved to Piqua. To say that our parks need work is really dismissive of how great the park system actually is and how well it's functioning.
Any other comments? We'll leave that as a second reading as well. And next is ordinance number O-14-25, a second reading.
An ordinance authorizing the establishment of the 2025 Bonds Capital Project Fund.
Mayor and Commissioners, this ordinance establishes a capital projects fund in anticipation of issuing debt in the near future for various projects that we're planning.
Any comments from commissioners?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yeah.
Jerry, this is just an ordinance to create the banking account, right? So that when we issue bonds and receive the money, we have somewhere to put it.
That is correct. Yeah, this just establishes the account, the fund on our books. We would need to have that in place once we get the proceeds of the debt. We've got somewhere to post those. You're correct.
Good. Thank you.
Any other commissioner comment? No public comment card. Consider that a second reading. Move on to new business.
Mr. Mayor, I think we need to add resolution number R-103-25 to the agenda for next meeting.
All right, I'll make a
I would
motion.
so move.
All right, and I'll second it. Resolution number R-103-25. Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
What's the reasoning?
Because it wasn't,
Oh, is it old business?
no, it's on the new business.
Where's it supposed to be?
Under new business, but it wasn't put out until late.
Gotcha.
Well, would someone happen to have text of said resolution?
Yeah, in your box.
We'll get to it.
She'll give you hers. It was in your box. They put it
No,
in.
No, it was not in my box.
No,
That
he
was,
doesn't get his, he gets his by email.
Oh.
But on the
It's
email
sent
that
later
was,
in the day today.
yeah, it was sent about 2:09 today. Mayor, perhaps when we get to that point, perhaps we could ask for a staff report and decide whether or not it's of an importance to add to today's agenda, or if it should.
Well, we're gonna do it now, for the simple fact that it should have been done a month ago or so.
Yes, when we were ready to have that special meeting on August 5th, that was on that agenda, and we forgot to get it to transfer over to the August 19th meeting. It's been sitting out in the Civic Plus for about 6 weeks now.
So it should have been out there.
Get it going.
We even got it down there late, today, so I apologize, Commissioner, on that. So, it was, moved and seconded to add resolution number R-103-25 to the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
One opposed. We'll start with, the new business, ordinance number O-15-25, first reading.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 56 Stormwater Management.
Good evening. If you guys can remember back 3 years in the fall, I brought the storm, water, and sewer ordinances for a triennial review. Comments were made and updates were made with rates and all the such what goes into those ordinances back then. We're starting that 3-year process again with the storm management fund, Chapter 56. There are 15 pages in this fund. If you look in your packet, the stuff that's in red are the changes or additions. Most of them are just minor things, updating with the current permit, some language on easements. There are some new rates in there, which I'll get to at the end, but not a whole lot changing in the meaning of the fund and the use of the fund and the purpose of the fund, more just some clerical stuff that we've noticed over the last 3 years to straighten up the language. The fund, which when we did this in 2022, you approved to go up 3% a year for 3 years. So right now, that's $7.43 per ERU. The proposed in this ordinance would take it down in 26 to $7.40 in ERU, in 27 to $7.35 in ERU, and in 2028 to $7.30 in ERU. So a slight decline of about 0.5% a year for the next 3 years in the stormwater ERU. Do you have any questions?
I'd never look a gift horse in the mouth as to why there's a decline, but why?
We're starting to accumulate a little more than we needed for some of the projects we have planned in the next year or two. And like I said, every 3 years we look at this. We definitely knew we were going to halt the increases of 3%, and we feel we could lower them a little bit here at this time and place.
I will praise you for that. I voted against the raise but I think it was a good thing. It's just, if we've got too much, then make sure we give back to the citizens. I like that.
Yeah, and I've scheduled in a couple, I've talked about last meeting, we have potentially $1 million in replacements of our stormwater manholes. I've even calculated in a new street sweeper out in the future, so I feel that we're doing pretty good with these, small decreases. We should be okay.
Sounds good.
If you're replacing old stuff, getting new stuff, and lowering the rates, it's pretty good.
That's pretty good stuff. Any other comment?
I just so I understand this correctly here, you're presenting to us an ordinance where you actually want to decrease the rates?
Yes, sir.
Leave that.
I'm just gonna let that sit for a minute.
I'm with you. I just shot.
Thank you, sir.
That's what I said. All right, Kim Heiser.
I think I'm with Frank. I want to sit with that a minute. So, kind of like with Rumpke then, are these like for the next 3 years, is that going to stay there, or is it totally dependent on the infrastructure coming in and the big building and stuff? Is it going to be taken, can it be taken away and added to? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, it's great. It's not going down much, but at least it's going down, so that's pretty awesome. It just worries me with all this other infrastructure and building that we're doing, how that actually is going to affect not only stormwater, but water and runoff and all that stuff too.
So, can it be taken away?
I would just, I can, so when you do build all this infrastructure, and I don't know how many houses are going at Deerfield, and we're annexing the south part of town and stuff, there are new customers to pay the ERUs. So that was part of our calculation, as we are expecting growth over the next 3 years, and with growth comes stormwater ERUs from those new residential, commercial, and industrial companies or businesses.
Yeah, water and wastewater management are essentially fixed costs for the infrastructure that exists. The way that you can lower the cost per person is by having more people. You can see the opposite of that in cities like Detroit, where they had a population collapse and all of a sudden people are getting water bills that are 5 times what they had the year before because there's just less people to pay for it. So
They're getting bad water too, though.
yeah, and so in anticipation, I think it's sorry. History of Detroit's more than.
I agree.
But as we're a growing city, and several things are being advanced in the city, we're currently keeping everything in order, allowing for decreasing costs, but also projecting decreasing costs for that same reason.
I will add that if, we go out 3 years and we estimate, but say there was an Ohio EPA mandate that 3 years from now we had to come up with $5 million. I mean, this is a fluid situation, and if we were to raise these ever, it would come back to commission in the same manner that it is now.
It is definitely a fluid situation.
Thank you. Any other questions from commission? We will call that a first reading. Next on the agenda is resolution number R-100-25.
A resolution authorizing a contract with Fifth Third Bank, N.A., J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A., U.S. Bank, N.A., Park National Bank, and Mutual Federal to serve as a depository for public funds.
Mayor and Commissioners, the city is required by law, whenever we have money deposited in a bank, to have a depository agreement with that bank. So we have these agreements, and we're required also by law to renew them every 5 years. So the agreements we have in place now are coming up. They'll expire at the end of the month. So these agreements would just renew those agreements that we're required to have in place to be able to deposit public funds. And I'll take any questions.
Any questions from commission?
Do we kind of pick and choose which bank gets the money on what occasion, or how do we do that?
Well, yes, that is somewhat the case. So I, early on after I got here, I did close out a couple accounts and move that money to U.S. Bank in the long-term investments to get quite a bit more interest. But yes, we have, the option to put those in the bank, whatever bank that we would, service the best. We, right now we have quite a bit of our money in Fifth Third. That's where our main checking account is and where we do our business from.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner comment?
Yes, sir.
Kim Heisler? Pardon me? Thank you. As a resolution, I will accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I would propose the adoption of resolution R-100-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted. Next on our agenda is resolution number R-101-25.
A resolution to levy assessments to pay for the cost of nuisance abatements.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is a resolution that we bring forward each fall. This just does the assessment, creates the assessment for any nuisance charges that we have. Mostly this is related to grass cutting, where we've cut grass for citizens and then charged them. And if the bill is not paid, then we assess that to the county auditor, and that's included on their tax bill. So that's what this does, is create those assessments and certifies those to the county auditor. This year we are certifying about $33,000.
help me a little bit with this, excuse me, this list seems shorter than last year's list. Are we getting more citizens to cut their own grass, or?
I'm not sure. Dollar-wise, it was about the same. If I remember correctly, it was just a little over $30,000 last year. So without going back and comparing the reports, I can't answer that question in detail.
But the money amount seems to be about the same.
Correct.
Any other questions from commissioners? Kim Heiser?
If I remember correctly, last year, there was a comment made by Darren, and that he was actually, as we were having the meeting, he was looking up these properties where the nuisance abatements was happening, and it was either elderly or folks didn't live there anymore. My question is, have you guys tried to reach out or have any kind of process to try to help these folks so that that doesn't continue happening? Or is it just something you guys have on the books that you just plan on being able to use, $30,000? If that makes any sense, because it seems to me that if it's an issue and it continues to come up, we should try to address the problem and fix it so that the citizens aren't having that continual payment. So I guess my question is, have you guys worked towards anything to try to help these folks and mitigate that situation? Instead of having it, on their monthly bill, if they're having a hard time, they're gonna have even a harder time having to pay it on their, monthly bill.
My assumption is code enforcement's involved in that process.
That is correct, Commissioner. So our property maintenance inspectors work diligently with the homeowner to try to get them to resolve the property maintenance issue. That doesn't always happen, and there's limitations to what the city is able to do. We can't, expend public resources on private property. It's illegal. The only way for us to recoup any expenditures if they aren't able to mow it or have somebody mow it is to do it through the assessment process.
How much communication is there back and forth between somebody before you would send a lawnmower out there?
I would have to look into exactly how much it is, but the property maintenance inspectors are very diligent working, especially with the older population, to give them proper runway to try to get it resolved. And a lot of those are generated by their neighbors complaining, so we only respond to that.
And my assumption is part of those properties are owned by people who don't live in Piqua.
That's correct. There are a lot of vacant property owners.
Any other questions from commission?
Mayor, I would move that we adopt resolution R-101-25.
Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is resolution number R-102-25.
A resolution approving the tax rates for the city as determined by the Miami County Budget Commission.
Mayor and Commissioners, you'll remember a couple of meetings ago, I brought the tax budget forth for the Commission's consideration, and we certified those amounts to the county auditor, and the county auditor sent this document back that we have to certify and need approved by the Commission, and the document in here that has our tax rates listed that's been signed by the tax budget commission of the county is for the commissioner's signatures once the resolution's approved. This certifies our tax rates that we've accepted those tax rates and sets forth our property tax amounts and rates for next year.
Any questions from commission?
My escrow was late this year. And property tax is going up.
They upped my escrow, so I'm with you.
I saw in the mail where we got a notice that Miami County was about to do a reassessment on property tax, but that really is not this issue. This is a different issue.
That's correct.
Am I correct?
This is something we do every year, just to set our tax rates and accept our tax rates that the county commission, budget commission has set, and so that we can collect our property tax.
Okay. Kim Heisler.
Okay, so I might need a little bit of education here a little bit, and I think Chris might have been a little bit confused too. Can you explain then the difference between what you're talking about, like the tax rate versus our property taxes that's going up? Is that like a percentage out of the property taxes that we're getting from the county? Or is that, because, you know, I look at my property, and this may not have anything to do with it, but I look at my property and I see how it's going up, but the houses beside me and down the road, they haven't changed either, but the property taxes is going up. So, and you're saying that has nothing to do with what you guys are approving here. So if you could help me understand a little bit more what this is versus what we're actually paying through the county. Because it sounds like it's two completely different things, right? Okay, so if you can explain that, I think that would at least help me, maybe help Chris too.
Yeah, so these are just the tax rates. So all the taxes of the county that are collected, the budget commission looks at all the different entities throughout the county, all the subdivisions, and looks at the total taxes. And I know there's a lot of pieces, you know, in that consideration, but they're basically dividing, they've got this big pot of taxes and they're dividing those up among all the subdivisions. So this is our tax rate on the inside millage. It's unvoted tax that we're able to collect from the pot. So that's what we're talking about. And this is set each year by the budget commission. And the rates, it didn't change from last year, but they have to certify the rates each year and then divide the pot up.
The card I got in the mail said that the county every 5 years, I think, needs to do a reassessment on property. And it also listed what I would call conflict resolutions. If you feel that maybe your property is being inappropriately increased in rates and whatever, that you can ask for a resolution. I don't know if you got one of those in the mail, and I got mine before the holiday.
I did, what I understand though is what he's talking about is completely different.
They're interrelated, as I understand it, but we're not talking about increases in your property or mine at this moment.
Yeah, those assessments just increase the property taxes overall. It wouldn't have anything to do with property tax rates we're talking about here.
Any other questions from commission? I'll ask for a motion then.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we adopt resolution R-103-25.
102-25.
Oh, I'm sorry, 102-25, sorry.
I'll second that. All those in favor of resolution number R-102-25, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
One opposed. And last resolution, resolution number R-103-25.
A resolution amending R-82-23, authorizing extending the agreement for engineering services for the Great Miami River Low Dam Removal and Modification Project.
Commissioners, I apologize for this coming to you at the last minute. This has been sitting in the hopper for 6 weeks, and it was missed to add to the 8/19 meeting. What this resolution does do is it continues our work with Flatlands Resources to design the low-level dam removals and river updates, river infrastructure improvements that are going forward, that we've been planning, that we've had citywide workshops on. So this is to continue them going to get us out to bid for that project, hopefully here by the fall, for construction in 2026. I'll take questions.
My understanding was that this matter was discussed when we had the meeting with the various consultants with the river project. And so this is the engineering portion of that, but we also heard of the design portion and all those kind of things for the dam removal as well as for the redesign of the river.
Yeah, that goes back, I believe we had that maybe in May or June, we had that citywide update. So yes, it all is working together to get that project out to bid.
And this is the dam that's in front of the old power plant.
It's the power plant, the removal of the power plant dam, adding river features all the way up to Loch 9, a little further to control the river, to make it used for watercraft. And this is to fortify the water intake dam up by the old water plant there in the dog park. That's back in there where we get our drinking water from now.
And if I remember correctly, since part of it broke loose, we've had, there's some kind of health incident there. Was there a fatality?
Oh yeah, a kayaker had a seizure or something I believe over this winter. Maybe it was 2 winters ago, I can't remember. Yes, there was an issue there.
So it's a safety hazard.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why it's being removed, and the power plant does not need water anymore for cooling because it's not an operational power plant. So that was the original purpose of that dam 100 years ago, to give them water to cool their turbines and their equipment when they were producing energy.
For those people who weren't around, that's what the river looked like in 1930 before the construction on the power plant started. And I think, those of us who remember the boat and ski club and different kinds of things, they made use of a little deeper water, but we don't have a boat and ski club anymore. And again, the power plant's not operating. We don't have need for taking in water off the river for cooling purposes. And so it's a look back in history.
Is this money coming out of our pockets, or was it coming out of a
Great
grant?
question, I forgot to say that. So this is, originally it's coming out of our pockets, and then it's going to be reimbursed by 3 grants, an H2O Ohio grant, WRRSP funding, and a Fish and Wildlife Passage grant. So our worst case scenario, we might be out a couple $100,000 out of the entire $3.5 million project. But if the prices come in a little lower, it will be completely funded. Currently, power and water are fronting the money, and then when those funds come back in from reimbursement, they will be reimbursed appropriately.
And this is just for the engineering part of it?
This is the design, yeah. This is to add the $271,000 to get us through the engineering and final design 100% and get it ready to bid out for the company that's going to bid on it, win the bid, and do the construction next year. All the construction work next year.
Yeah, America made a lot of dams during the New Deal project nearly 100 years ago, and in that time we've come to regret that, and there is movement nationally to start removing a lot of those dams. They're dangerous for recreation, they cause a lot of ecological problems. There's every reason to start removing as many as possible, and yes, it's great that the state has made funds available for that. It would be ridiculous for us to not take advantage of that.
And the other point I think I understand is that we're not the only city who's doing this. I think I saw in the news where Troy was in the process of removing mussels from the river because of the environmental restrictions that were on them as they removed that dam down in that area of the river.
Yep, that is one of the processes, yes.
I believe I put this idea forward several times while we've had many meetings over the last, I think, almost 3 years with the public, talking about what the plan is around the river generally and around this project. I put forth the idea that that bridge there, or that dam there has, I think it's 1938 on it. And I think if that could be preserved and put into the park at Atomic City Bridge, I think that would be a great addition to that and preserve some of that history, but also remove the dam.
That is the main goal, and that is why we're getting the funding, yes.
Kim Heisler?
I think you pretty much answered, thank thanks for asking about how it was getting paid for. Hopefully, Trump doesn't cut that off, but what happens if all the funding gets cut off? Are we still gonna be able to pay for that somehow through stuff?
I don't think this, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Well, yeah.
That's okay.
Anything else other than that?
Yeah, how much have we paid them so far for the plan?
I'll ask that as well. How much have we paid? Anything
Yeah,
else?
and Tom, I think it's a great idea to preserve that. That's awesome. Yeah, thanks.
If I remember correctly, there was, anytime we do something like this, there is an effort to go kind of archaeological, discover if there's anything there worth preserving, make some attempt to document that it was there. And, you know, just because we're removing it doesn't mean we don't remember that it was there. I think that there was some effort that was designed around that.
Go ahead and answer her first.
Yeah, to answer her on the money issue, the first amendment back in 2023 was for $239,000, and this second amendment with Flatlands is for $259,000 and change for a total of $498,000, which falls in line for about $3 to $3.5 million worth of construction. The percentages, you know, about 7 to 10% sometimes it costs to design the work. What was the other question?
Just how much have we paid so far?
Well, we ran out of that 239, so now we're starting to work on the second batch of money. That's what we're approving here.
Okay.
And what Tom was referring to is a SHPO. That is when you're taking all of any historical things that are needed or that could have happened in the area where you're going to disturb the land. And that is part of this, that is one of the line items in this amendment, is to take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions from commissioners? I'll accept a motion then.
Mr. Mayor, I would move the approval of resolution number R-103-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
One opposed. That concludes the old new business. Now we're on to the city manager's report.
Good evening, Commission. Just real quick, we had Labor Day holiday yesterday, and so if you have a desire to understand when your trash is going to be collected, you can go to rumpke.com under the holiday and type in 45356. And what you'll find is there's no service delays this week with the holiday, which is unlike our internal collection. We would delay by a day and they would work on Saturday. So just to note that it's a regular trash pickup for the week. And lastly, we have Zack Attack playing this Friday at 7 p.m. at Lock 9. And after that, we have 2 more city-sponsored concerts before we get to Rock Piqua on September 20th. That's the end of my report.
Is it possible for us to do a better job of getting these agenda items to us and to the public better? Because I know Kevin tried to put it out there, but I mean, it did cause one commissioner some angst. He didn't even have it and he didn't see it on his phone. I was fortunate enough, I saw it come through, and then I saw it in my agenda packet.
Understandable, and we'll endeavor to do better, but I can just tell you from my experience that there are times that things fall through the cracks and they become agenda items. It's just not at the commission meeting, but boards and commissions in general. That's why the business agenda has an opportunity to adjust the agenda at the beginning of the meeting.
We need a comedy night. We really do. There's 2 drunks walking to a bar.
Commissioners' comments. We'll start with Commissioner Simmons and a joke, I guess.
No, that was that. We need a comedy night. I'm telling you.
Down there, it would be good.
Yeah,
It would be,
that'd be great.
it would be awesome.
I'll
You're
sign
right.
up for that all day long.
That would be fun.
So let's see. I hope everybody had a good holiday weekend. It's still been a lot of fun around my house. I know we cut off video at the end of the meetings, but my wife actually made public comments last time around, and she was pretty coherent, and I was very, very happy about that. Anyway, this last weekend we had or 2 weekends ago, we had the rummage sale at Stone Stonebridge Church, and they did another real great job. But that is about all I have.
Commissioner Holman?
Mayor, I have no comments tonight.
Thank you. Commissioner Vetter?
I'm hoping that as we enter into the last portion of the year, we get a couple of reports back about use of facilities. For instance, I understand we need to disengage part of the discussion about the plaza versus the whole building, but I think it would be good to come back with the public and help us understand how the plaza is being used. And at one point, there was an estimate offered about the number of reservations there at the plaza. I think that would be good to see that, as well as the financial part. The other is, I think it's going to be really important that at the end of the season for Lot 9, that we list all the costs for the concerts at Lot 9. And so I look forward to receiving that. With that, I would yield.
Thank you. Commissioner, you're up.
I just want to give a thank you and a sincere appreciation to Shelley Mitchell and her team, who put together the back to school bash at Lock 9 last weekend. Absolutely blown away by the amount of folks that were there, and all of the things that she and her team had set up for the kids, who today, Piqua City Schools, for their first day back to school. So with that.
All right. My comments is I was going to talk about the Power Project and what they did at Lock 9 prior to school, the amount of people that came out, the things that they gave away. Shelley Mitchell and her group were to be commended. She's like the mom of all Piqua schools. She really is. She's a good mom as well. So thank you and thank them for what they did. And today was the first day of school. We had our school resource officers out in force. They look good. There's a Facebook post. If you haven't seen it, check it out. All 5 of our resource officers were pictured holding signs at which school that they're at. It was pretty nice, a nice little article. Our PR people are staying busy and doing a good job. And I hope everybody had a good Labor Day. I got to visit all my grandkids except for one, and I have 4 now, so it's been busy. And I was in Columbus over the weekend and had a good time. And now we're going to get into that stretch of election season, and just keep your eyes open and stay involved. And we appreciate everybody's involvement here at commission meetings. And with that said, we will go next into non-agenda public comment. We will, as soon as I adjourn. I need a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I would move that we adjourn from the business portion of the agenda.
I need a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Larry Hamilton, you're up.
Larry Hamilton, 1104 Maplewood Drive. Black history matters. And here's a breakdown of the complex history and issues surrounding Labor Day. The push for a national Labor Day in the 1880s and 1890s was led by unions that excluded or discriminated against black workers. As white unions were fighting for recognition and better working conditions, black workers often had to form their own unions to advocate for themselves. For example, Isaac Myers founded the Colored National Labor Union in 1869, and A. Philip Randolph led the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters. the first black-led union recognized by the American Federation of Labor. The 1890s, when Labor Day became a federal holiday, was also a period of heightened Jim Crow laws, disenfranchisement, and racial violence against Black Americans, compounding the racial injustice inherent in the labor movement. Over time, the celebratory aspects of Labor Day, such as parades and the day off from work, came to overshadow its political and historical significance. For many, the holiday's meaning has been lost to a long weekend, summer celebrations, and retail sales. The timing of the holiday at the start of the school year further trivializes its meaning, as the focus for many families shifts from workers' history to seasonal rituals like shopping. The historical link to the school year is partly rooted in a more agrarian society, but today the connection is mostly commercial. The early wealth of the United States was largely built on the forced labor of enslaved Black people. I'm going to repeat that. The early wealth of the United States was largely built on the forced labor of enslaved Black people. Subsequent immigrant groups were able to charge for their labor, in part due to the end of chattel slavery. Black and brown laborers have historically faced and continue to face systemic barriers to fair wages, safe working conditions, and equitable opportunities. The fight for labor rights has always been intertwined with the fight for racial justice. Consciously remembering and acknowledging the monumental contributions and struggles of Black and other non-white workers is necessary for a complete understanding of American labor history. This historical erasure and trivialization allow for the selective telling of American history that ignores the full and often painful story of labor in the United States. And before I take my seat, I would like to make reference to a pilgrimage for racial justice that is going to be taking place Saturday, September 13th, 2025, from 2 to 4 p.m. It's a pilgrimage to St. Charles Center, 2860 US 127 in Cartagena. The final stop of the pilgrimage is an exhibit at St. Charles curated by the National Afro-American Museum and Cultural Center. It tells the story of the Randolph freed people, nearly 400 formerly enslaved individuals who migrated from Charlotte County, Virginia, to Ohio's Miami Valley. Thank you very much.
Just for clarification, Cartagena is in Mercer County on the southern and southeastern side of Grand Lake St. Mary's.
That is correct.
So people may not recognize that name. Montezuma is the name I think that a lot of us might know, but Cartagena is in that same area.
Yeah. And I would like to encourage everybody to take advantage of this opportunity to have an idea of the area that was taken away from the Randolph freed people in the amount of about 3,200 acres, and to have some proposals or ideas in terms of how to best address this issue from a racial justice matter of thinking. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Jonathan Russell.
Evening, Jonathan Wessel, 1820 Eagles Lake Drive. First, I just want to touch on the ordinance that came up about the boards again. So my comment last week and really this week was really more so that if you look at the staff report and then you look at the number of changes that were made, they didn't really line up, right? There's probably 6 changes in that ordinance if you look at today's chapter versus what's proposed. And so I think, well, like, if you look, for example, at the stormwater ordinance that was up today, it was very clear markup, right? Things were stricken out, things were added, it was very clear what was changing. And on this board consolidation ordinance, it was just, here's the new one. And it was a very short paragraph about what the changes were, but it wasn't probably as detailed as what I think it could be. So just a comment there. One other comment for people who don't know about the smart meters, Kim, is if you get the Smart Hub app, they kind of bury it in there, but you can see your usage every hour on your water meter, and you can see it every 15 minutes on your electric meter. And I hope that's right, because that's what I use to chastise my children about the length of their shower and leaving the lights on. So it is in there. They do kind of hide it, but I don't think hide it. It's buried in there, but it is
buried. That's
yeah.
what he said.
And then also, last comment is on October 1st of last year, there was an op-ed in Newsweek by then candidate Donald Trump, who said, quote, "We will cut energy and electricity prices in half within 12 months, not just for businesses, but for all Americans and their families." So since there are 3 regularly scheduled meetings between now and October 1st, I hope that is on the agenda. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, a cut? Is that what you're hoping for?
1/2
1/2, okay.
in half. One can hope. Yeah.
I'll call Donald up and ask him. Because we didn't make that promise.
We just want to make sure if he does it, that it falls through onto us. That it doesn't-
Oh, it falls through on everybody,
I
yeah.
will say filling up my gas guzzling SUV has been a little bit easier the past year.
Not
That
me.
counts for something.
Prices have been up here lately. So, you're up. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I have
Yeah,
an
but I
electric
said-
car, so I need electric prices down.
Well, that's your problem for misjudging the market price.
I think having a comedy couple hour or a stand-up at Lock 9 would be a really
That's a great idea, yeah.
great thing to do for local talent.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's a few things, once again. And to follow up with what Jonathan just said about like the boards and the commissions, it really is helpful for us as citizens to see where those changes were made. And I would hope it's really good for you guys to see where those are made too. Because if you don't know, without spending tons of hours doing a comparison, it's pretty bad. And it seems like they're possibly doing it, maybe they're not, but it seems like that is a possibility. But if there's any way between now and next time that you can have them like point out those, that would be great. Because even in talking to them, she wasn't necessarily sure on a couple of the items that you guys asked. And if she's not sure, then I don't know, it's just not very clear. And then also, it's pretty bad when you guys didn't even have this meeting adjourned. Every one of those guys was out the door before you said it's now adjourned. Every one of them. That, to you guys, should be unacceptable. I mean, you should say, hey, guys, it may not be any big deal to you, but it's very unprofessional of them, and it's almost unprofessional of you guys not to hold them to even stay in the meeting they're supposed to be in, even if it's 30 seconds. It's just very disrespectful. And last week, there's a few things. Collaboration is one thing. I went to I think it was a planning board meeting, and it's probably one of the reasons why they're changing the codes and making them all regular. But I went to a planning board meeting one time. There's not very many people that show up. But it was like one of the best meetings that I went to because it was open. They allowed folks to come up and talk. We collaborated because we were coming up with stuff. They allowed us to come back up again because when they discussed it, there was other things that came up that we could also speak to. And that collaboration then created something much better. We had a much better result and an ending product because of that collaboration. What happens when we come in here to you guys? I mean, it's almost like, why do we even have a commission meeting? Because we talk, you guys hear, and maybe you ask the questions, maybe not, but then we don't even get the answers sometime until 2 weeks later, resolution's done passed. We have to waste time to fill out a document request, and we may or may not even get it back, so it's not timely at all. So it's very frustrating on our end when the collaboration, you guys go to meetings, you know what's happening. Tom, you made a comment earlier about, oh yeah, you know, you mentioned something earlier about the wastewater. I don't know if I got it in this meeting or a board meeting, but you recognized it. But how does that information that you guys get from him about what's coming up ever get to us? It doesn't. And the fact that when we come up and ask questions, and you guys then have to ask them because you don't know the answers, means that there's answers that haven't been, there are questions that haven't been answered yet. Anyway, so that's frustrating too. Another thing that's, how much time do I have left?
3:01.
Okay, so last week, 2 weeks ago, last meeting, there was a comment made about double billing, which kind of blows my mind, and actually it's a very big concern, because you had asked RJ, I think, if there was double billing going on, and he's like, oh, no. But it blows my mind that you guys didn't even second guess, or even look into, or even have RJ look into, is that possible? What is the calculation? Can you prove to us that that's not being double billed for something? But not one question was asked, and it was assumed that absolutely that was correct. I can't be the only one. There's other people that's saying the same things too, but I don't, stuff needs to get challenged. Just because they're supposed to be experts doesn't mean that they can't make mistakes too and to be looked at. We've got so many broken systems, and yet it seems like we're never putting anything in place to fix those. It's just like, oh, that's okay. It was sitting there, it should have been the last meeting, but it's coming in this meeting. There's nothing set in place to fix those broken issues, and there should be. I mean, we come back time and time again, but there's nothing put in place to help the process. But collaboration, again, would be really nice. Also, the information on the energy meeting and having agendas and stuff, I don't know that I completely understood that, but it sounded like there was not going to be minutes or something that you had talked about that wasn't going to be included, wasn't going to be written in because they're the experts, they know. Am I wrong on that? For the Energy Board and the...
Energy Board keeps minutes.
I know, but what was it that you were talking about that said, that you said, well, we may not need it because you guys are the experts?
I don't want to interrupt your time.
Okay, well, I want to know what that is, because we as citizens, again, there's no collaboration, we don't know what's going on, and just because we're not experts, we're paying for all the bills, we're paying for all this structure to happen. It would be really good for us to know what's happening. I mean, the power grid wall, I'm pretty sure when I talked about it last week, there was a couple of you up there thinking, what in the world is she talking about? But there's stuff going on in this world that some people may not know what's going on, that might be taking us in the wrong direction, and it's really good as a citizen to be able to see where it is you guys are taking us. Because we've got no voice, and if we do,
Thank you.
it's too late because you get back to us later.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
if
go right ahead.
I may, a point of clarification there. The questions in that particular ordinance that I posed were regarding language that had the board produce an annual report, which, again, I don't feel the need, or didn't ask to add back into that language that a volunteer service board produce an annual report for a public utility. That is something I believe that should be produced by the department itself. So it wasn't minutes, it wasn't an agenda, it was an actual annual report. That actually, come to find out, all that information is produced every year for their yearly report and work plan, so. Thank you.
All right. That's all the comment cards I had for public comment. At this time, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you, make the TV for
Yeah.
that show is probably one of the most interesting.